Today we're going to look at the remote backup client interface. This is where we create all the backup sets to back up your server or desktop, and where we go to restore files from backup. So we'll create an initial backup set. In this case it's going to back up the user shared folders on the server. So I'll give it a name, click OK, and that sends us off to the scheduler tab. In this case I'm going to do a full backup, and thereafter we'll do incrementals. So click apply and close, and then we browse to the location of the data we want to back up. In this case it's user's shared folder, so I'll right click on that and click include, and you see ticks appear on all the subfolders, which means all that data is going to be backed up. So right click again and set the archive flag. The initial backups in most cases are going to be far too large to back up over the internet. So what we do is we plug in a USB drive to the server and run the initial jobs, backup jobs to that USB drive. So I'll go ahead and do that now for this particular backup set. So click on run, click on copy to disk, and browse to that USB drive, or in this case I've just created a folder on the drive, and then we click OK, and then the job starts. So it scans the folders for the particular files it wants to back up, then it contacts the server, and then it starts preparing the files. So the files are encrypted and then compressed and then copied to the USB drive. So that's going along nicely now, and once the transfer is complete, then it contacts the server and synchronizes the catalog, so that the catalog on the server matches what's on this local server. So that backup to disk is now complete, so we can click the OK button and click closed. So once you've created all the other backup sets and run that local copy to disk, the disk needs to go to the data center, and the data needs to be copied onto the backup server before you start running the scheduled tasks over the internet. Once we've completed that backup to local disk, we'll change the schedule. So we're going to change it to incremental, and I'll change it to run on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday night at 23:30, and we're going to be using the Windows Task Scheduler. So we tick that box and we type in the password for the administrator so that we'll run under that account. Click OK and click apply, and then close. So every weeknight at 23:30 the task scheduler will start that job. So depending on what sort of server you've installed the client on will depend on what sort of plugins are available. In this case it's a small business server, 2003, so that you can see that there's an agent there for the Exchange server, SharePoint, Active Directory, and SQL server. So what I'm going to do now is create a backup set for the Exchange server. So that's going to back up the mailboxes, public folders, address lists, etc. So I'll click on new backup set and give it a name, Exchange. Click OK. In this case we're just going to select incremental for the type of backup, because by default an Exchange backup will do a full backup the first time round. So we select the Exchange server and right click on it and click include. So that's going to include all the mailboxes, public folders and address lists. So right click again and then we click edit parameters. And this is where we have to fill out the fully qualified domain name, the local domain name, administrator, password. And there's also an options button here where we can select to not back up the junk email folders and the deleted items folders, which is what I've done in this case. So if we've entered the correct details in here and we click on the connect button, you'll notice down the bottom there it says connected to Exchange server. So that connection is successful. So once again we would run a copy to disk job for the initial job, and once that was complete then we'd shift that data off to the data center. And I'll just show you how to do a restore of data. I created a backup set called user1 and I've already done a backup for that, so I'll show you how to do a restore. So we click on the restore button, we select files for restore, we select the backup set that we want to restore data from. In this case it's user1. I'll click the date search I've just set to all, and I'm going to change the restore location. So I'll select a folder called restore, click OK, click the search button. So it's done a search on the backup server in the data center and discovered these backups. So I'll expand that and I'll select a file to be restored and then click start restore. So it's connecting to the remote server and it's now downloading that file. So that file has now been restored. So if I close that window and browse to the restore folder, we should see the restored file. And yes, it has restored that file. One thing I forgot to do for the Exchange, for disaster recovery purposes, you should also select the Active Directory and also the system state. So both of those will get backed up every time the Exchange server job runs. When you first install the client, it asks you to create an encryption key. Here's one I created when I installed the client. And the default method is Blowfish. And you can either enter your own encryption key or you can click the create key button and the client will do it for you. And once that key is created, this window will pop up here and you click the print form and print the encryption key out and save it to a file somewhere, because you're going to need that in case your server does fail and you need to restore data to another server, in which case you'll have to install the client on that new machine and enter this encryption key to enable you to restore files. And that's the client interface.